Alright, you guys, welcome back to Roads Untraveled. Today I'm driving the 2022 Volvo XC60 B6 Inscription. That is the model designation here. You can either get this in the B5 or the B6. The B5 is a turbocharged 2-liter inline 4, and then this is the B6, which is a turbocharged and supercharged and hybrid 2-liter engine. So this is Volvo's kind of mid-tier crossover, luxury crossover. It's not a full-fledged SUV, it's a step below the XC90. XC90s are very big. The XC40 is a little small. When I look at the XC40, I just think, hey, why don't you just get a hatchback? Most of you guys are not using the additional ride height and the ground clearance. Why aren't you just buying nice hatchbacks and wagons, or a lifted wagon or something like that? It's great. We're starting off this video actually chasing a Impreza down this twisty road, and we've caught him. Okay, so it's not something I would normally drive, but you guys may remember that a few months ago I drove the V70R, which was, back in 2004, Volvo's performance wagon. It was basically the sister car to the S60R. Very quick car, 6-speed manual, and of course it had adjustable Öhlins suspension with 3 different damper settings that the user, the driver, could control based on driving conditions and kind of your style of driving, whether you were in a performance scenario or otherwise, or if you just wanted to stay comfortable. In contrast to the S60R and the V70R, here we have a vehicle that it has surprised me in so many ways, okay? So this twin-charged inline 4 under the hood makes 295 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. All-wheel drive is standard. This one I'm driving today has 20-inch wheels, which are extra. This one's been painted in Silver Dawn, which initially I was like, hey, aren't you just ripping off a Rolls-Royce name? But no, not the case. Almost though, very close. In contrast to the S60R and the V70R, the XC60 is incredibly simple. And what I've noticed is it does basically everything opposite to what the big Germans have been doing in terms of tech and user experience while driving. So, like I said, adjustable Öhlins on that V70R. Here, this one has been equipped with air ride adaptive suspension. There's no comfort mode, there's no sport mode, but it knows best. Same with the 8-speed automatic that the 4-cylinder is paired with. Almost every single modern car that I've experienced with, whether it's a 7-speed, 8-speed, 9-speed, 10-speed automatic, they all had paddle shifters. I went to switch gears, there's no paddle shifters. Volvo doesn't even give you that option here, okay? In most cases, the XC60 has made things incredibly simple, and that also includes the digital gauge display here, which has just two configurations, that's all. No customizability whatsoever, which at first I was very confused by. It kind of puzzled me a little bit. I'm like, oh, this is kind of basic. But what it made me do was a couple of things. One, it made me pay attention more to the road, which Volvo safety kind of goes along those lines. And it just made me feel more relaxed. You know, you get into a brand new GLE, for instance, that I drove recently, and there are an infinite amount of customizability options, just an incredible amount, but here it's simple. Another example of this is the optioned massage seats that we have here, which are not controlled by the touch screen here, but are, however, controlled just on the side of the seat where the seat controls are, because it's a seat control. So it should be intuitive. Hey, does my back hurt now, or does my back hurt in like 6 menu presses, right? No, it hurts now. It's annoying me right now. So there you go, 1 button hit, 2 button hit, and I have my massage seat going. Most of the XC60 kind of encompasses this, but when we look at, again, manually shifting gears, it's side to side. I'm hitting the gear lever to the right to switch up gears, and then to the left. That doesn't make any sense to me. So it absolutely errs towards the side of luxury, simplicity, and comfort versus performance. It looks sporty, it's quick, it has that adaptive suspension, which in standard mode, when you're just driving, it can be a little bit stiff in certain scenarios, but I can't be too harsh on it because I have actually been harsh on AMGs for being too stiff in the standard settings, but those are AMG products, totally different. And of course, that 48-volt mild hybrid system is actually powering the supercharger. So, as I mentioned previous, it is twin-charged. Previously, it was actually a belt-driven root-style supercharger that was placed before the turbo, that was feeding the turbocharger so it would boost the intake air before it reached the turbocharger, before the turbo had time to spool. Now Volvo has gone ahead, of course, because they've added this mild hybrid system, and used an electronic supercharger, an electric supercharger that then does effectively the same thing. So that mild hybrid system, that 48-volt system, also you know, does things in assistance when it comes to getting off the line and starting the car via the start-stop. It's incredibly seamless. Yeah, the torque definitely dips off right at the top of the power band. Absolutely, that 310 pound-feet of torque is closer to 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. That's what I'm feeling. I don't know the exact RPM, but if I had to guess, I'm gonna guess like 4,250, because that seems like an official peak torque figure that this engine would put out. Brake feel is awesome. I do love the brake feel here. Very firm immediately, right at the top of the pedal. Great feel. Very consistent. Not much pitch or dive. What I would really love to have though is like a live view of what the suspension is doing. I would love to know as a driver what the suspension is doing, what the adaptive shocks, dampers are doing, and kind of how they're adapting to the road. That's something that I would love to see here. Traditionally, in sport mode, what your car would do was, okay, it knows now you're gonna be a dumbass and do some ridiculous steering maneuvers and push the G-forces a little bit so that it would downshift aggressively under braking. Here it's not doing that. So that is one downside of not having the user option to be like, hey, I know I'm about to get a little crazy, so you should adapt your things. But it doesn't actually do that here. So you'll be at like 2,000 exiting a corner, hit the gas, wait for it to downshift, and then you've got your boost, and at that point you're like compensating for suspension changes and weight transfer. So there is that. All right, you guys, behind me, XC60. Let's jump on the interior and see what's simplistic about the XC60 and what's not so intuitive. Let's just say. It is nice. So, steering wheel, nice and simple. They've done this kind of two-tone, what I last saw in the S-Class, actually. Theirs was a wood trim around here. This is not, but it does have that two-tone feel to it. It's very nice, and these are not like a haptic touch feedback system. They are actual buttons, which I really appreciate. I love that. This one has been equipped with the wood trim finish. So there is real wood. This is a Swedish car, you guys, okay? So all of this trim here is in fact real wood, which I really appreciate. Very simple on the interior here. If you watched my V70R video, you would have noticed that I loved the seats in that car. Some of the most comfortable sports wagon seats I've ever experienced. These are up to that level. You can adjust all kinds of things. This one has been equipped with the heated and ventilated seats as well as the massage function. Oh, and This is a really cool touch right here. There is a Swedish flag. Very cool, just a nice small touch, keeping the heritage alive. What is this Volvo? This is where their stop start button is, which I have no issue with. But I went to press it the first time, but as you can see, there is a little arrow on there that tells you, no, you have to, oh, do I push it to the right? No, you twist it like a key. That's a little odd. I'm used to it now. I don't know why they did that, if they had a specific reason, or if the reason was just to be different. The gear lever's fine. It works as predicted. Oh wait, no. No, it does not actually work as predicted. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a demonstration. It's in park right now. Now, in order to go into neutral, see right there on the dash, you can see, you'd think I would just push it to the right, correct? Well, I pushed it to the right, we're still in park. Push it to the right again, we're still in park. It does nothing. So how do I get to the right if it's not by pushing right on the gear lever? That's kind of strange. I push down, that brings me to neutral, and then I push down again, and that brings me to drive. Every time you have to do that. Every single time you have to hit it twice to get into drive, and then if you want to go in reverse, you hit it up to neutral and then up to reverse. It goes through each of the gears. And then manual mode is down once more, and then back into drive, manual mode, drive. And as I mentioned, when you're in manual, right is shift up and left is shift down. So that's a little bit odd. This one has been fitted, as you guys can see right here, the 360 cam, which is absolutely phenomenal. Basically everything here is controlled on this center screen. As you can see, they've included your play and pause button, and then of course your volume can be changed directly with the knob, which is phenomenal. And then next song, your defrost buttons here, and then always, actually, yes, it is there always, even if I hit the home button. You have not your entire climate controls, but you do always have access to your temperature. Your heated steering wheel controls are here. 3 settings for the heated steering wheel. That's the first time I've seen that, as well as the heated seats and the ventilated seats. I'm a bit hot, I'm gonna leave those on for now. But to get to the full climate control, you do have to bring up this climate menu. What I have found is the one material that's front and center among all these controls does not feel good. It's this right here. It's this entire surround. This is like a cheap plastic, not great material that has, you know, a little bit of flex to it, but it just, it almost ruined, like everything was going well until I touched that, and it's right at your armrest, so it doesn't make sense that they would do that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit me up on Instagram. You can see what I'm shooting on a day-to-day basis. I'm not sure what I've got coming up. See you guys next time.